were disposing of chemicals incorrectly until like Harris County's suing that company.
Yeah.
So whoever, like, I'm sure we have a governing body who goes there and, like, you know, audits everything. Or like safety controls and shit.
So he's just like the face of all that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's more of a Harris County issue.
Yeah.
Just because Deer Park is in the city of Houston.
Do they know how it got started, and did anybody die in that when it got started?
I don't know, actually.
I thought they said it was like a overheated storage tank. That's all I know about it.
Miriam, the girl, she told me that, you know, she's an engineer for electricity in Alabama.
Yeah.
And she told me a story about how a guy was out in it's obviously a very dangerous job. She gets paid pretty good money. But a guy, I don't know, you know, it's obviously really easy to die, get electrocuted. He was, the way she described it, he was under some sort of tank, electricity hit it exploded, and then like all this stuff like fell on him, and he didn't die immediately. He like stuck around for like, he was like got burned obviously really bad, and then survived for like a couple weeks and then died. I was like, that's almost worse. That's almost worse. That's almost worse than just dying immediately.
Yeah,
because I could imagine like what your family has to go through, and they see you in the hospital.
Would you prefer to die immediately?
Yeah. Would you? What would you like to say goodbye to your family?
Yeah, at least like you have like 2 weeks to set everything.
It's so easy
to say the things that are unsaid.
That's the thing I've always wondered about. People are gonna say that when they're on their deathbeds, you know, like you won't ever know. You won't know until you're on that. How are you gonna say how you'll feel once you go? You know, it's like there's no way to.
And there's never a good moment or anything.
Yeah,
it always happens like the worst times.
I'm so interested in death and scared and how it goes. All right, I'm gonna have to turn that off because y'all are getting.
Dude, like I'm like a fly to.
Yeah.
You know when you're outside in the summer and you got those lights on?
Yeah, is that what it is?
It's like a fly that goes right to it. Like, I go to a bar, I go to whatever. My eyes go right to it. I can't help myself.
You're part of the millennial generation. Like if there's a screen in front of you, you just can't.
I mean, I'm born with it, man. I don't know.
Are you born with it, or is it something that's acquired? My one of my buddies from work says like his son got not diagnosed. They did one of those tests at his school, and they're like worried that he's below his reading level and that his son has dyslexia. But he's like half the class got diagnosed with it too. So he's like, I don't know if this is like the test or if it's really my son.
Can't read anymore.
Yeah, or kids just can't. Or kids just can't read anymore. He's like, I'm not really sure what's going on here.
Dude, yeah, it's bad. I was telling them about a podcast that I listened to called Digital Detox about like stepping away from your phone and stuff. And this guy was like describing how he went to Hawaii without his phone, like how difficult it was. He had to like stop at the gas station and ask for directions to the hotel, like what people did in the 90s and stuff.
Yeah, you had to reprogram.
Yeah, it's completely. Like, it's crazy. And like now you think about it, it's like, how the fuck do you live without a cell phone? Like it's so inconvenient.
Oh, that's easy. I don't.
Like, I had to go to the airport and like I didn't have a confirmation number, so I had to like, it took like 30 minutes. Instead of like pulling your phone out.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's also more difficult than it was then because we've like adapted to like our phones, you know. And so we're not even like I remember. Like, I feel like it wasn't that long ago that I was going on MapQuest still and fucking printing out directions and shit, you know?
I remember, my mom.
And I was like, at the time, it wasn't, it sucked. Like, it was always like a thing, like, oh, we got to get out the door. And you motherfucker hadn't printed out MapQuest yet. Like, that kind of shit. But, so it's more like, but you adapt pretty quickly, you know?
Yeah. But it would be interesting to, like, just.
Yeah.
Well, so the point of the podcast was that when people have, like, broken their phones or something, instead of replacing it immediately, they've like taken a day or two to replace it, and then they like it so much they continue it for like 30 days, and they like write blogs about like what their experience was and stuff. Yeah. And all of them report like being way happier, like being more productive, being more engaged, like a bunch of shit. And it's fucking true. It's just so hard to fucking.
Yeah, but that makes a better blog than, oh, no, it was the worst. No one's going to care. No one's going to read a blog if they're just like, no, it was worse. It was more inconvenient when I didn't have my cell phone. It's way better if you're like, oh, I feel more connected than people, you know? So it's biased.
Well, I think like a blog, though, I was like, my life fucking, like, everything was so hard and fuck this.
But isn't that the promise of cell phones that, you know, why we bought them and why all the technology is, it makes our life easier, right? But at the same time, it's making it infinitely more complicated. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
So we're it's harder to find ways to find the restaurant you're going to eat at, or how you're going to drive cross country, or how do you track news and media. The promise is it's easier, but it's actually a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
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 I'll tell you a commercial that really bothered me that I just saw. It was the OnStar commercial. What it is, I'll describe it to you. There's a guy riding his bike, and they pan to, it's like a split, 2 different shots. One is a kid riding his bike. They split to SUV being chased by a cop car, and the cops on the radio like, oh, he's turning down, so obviously is there a chase. And finally, in the final scene, the kid and the cop car, the cop chase comes to a head, and the OnStar shuts off the SUV electronically, and so it doesn't hit the kid. But I was thinking, like, man, if they could just, like, if we get to that point, where Donald Trump, where the government has can control your vehicles and can shut it down remotely just by the press of a button, that is not a good thing. So I was like, that commercial, like, turned me off. Like, I would not want that in my car. I would not want that to be possible.
Dude, can I ask you a question? Do you guys have Google, like, messaging?
Like GChat or Gmail?
Well, like, when you're sending text, like, I have, like, integration through Google, right? And there's this new feature that they added where, like, it's predictive reply. Where, like, you'll say
Apple has a little bit of that.
So, like, I'll, like, text somebody, hey, man, like, we're going this place or whatever. And be like, okay, see you there. And then everybody has, like, a few answers for you to choose from already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, so how much is Google, like, reading all of your, like,
dude.
Oh my
like,
dude.
I was let's say, like,
they're probably like auto-gen. I mean,
no, but it, like,
No,
I feel
they
like,
have to.
I'm not saying it allows the conversation.
no, listen, like, in the beginning, it was like, okay, yeah, sure, but now it's like, yeah, diggity, you betcha, bro. Like, I'm like,
yours
yes, it's adaptive.
Dude,
that's
So, like,
yeah,
how
that's
much,
crazy.
That's like
no,
Black
I'm
Mirror.
serious. So, like,
Man.
the reason why I was thinking about this is, like, I got over to your place in an Uber, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go through my text, find the address, I got your address, whatever, and then I closed the app, I went into Uber, guess what the first recommended address is?
Yeah. That happens to me all the time too. Yeah.
You didn't even click on the address? You just
No,
looked at it?
it pulled from my
God damn.
messaging.
Yeah.
We're fucked.
Yeah, we're definitely
We're
fucked.
fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Or do you think they're storing that information?
What do you
Yeah, dude, are you
Or is it just like an
it's not for your own. I mean, it is for your own
Yeah, we are
benefit,
fucked.
but it's also for consumer marketing,
crazy.
everything.
Yeah.
tracking.
That's like in 2 years
Yeah.
we're all gonna be like, oh no, this girl sucks. She just uses a predictive texting.
Yeah.
We're gonna be having conversations like that.
Yeah, maybe. Holy shit.
Like, we're just gonna use our eye, like, to.
God
Yeah.
damn,
Use the
man.
predictive text.
Creativity is gonna die.
Yeah.
It's not
I
even
know.
our choice
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the thing. It's not
Yeah,
our
you don't
choice.
have to think of it.
That was the problem I had with the OnStar stuff. Like, it's not your, like, I was thinking about it, like, was that my kid? If that was my kid that was going to get hit by that car in that cop chase, would I be willing to give up my kid for the United States, to still have freedom to do what they want? Is that a sacrifice you'd be willing to make? I would say yes, but I don't have a kid right now, so I can't.
I think free will is above anything.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But that's
Free
what I'm
will
saying. That's
is
what I'm
so
saying.
far
That,
past it.
that's what I'm
Cause,
saying.
yeah.
That is the opposite of what that
Yeah, I
commercial
know,
is saying.
yeah.
That is saying give up your
think-
right to
No.
even if it is for a bad thing, you're
Yeah.
giving up your ability to go where you want
Yeah.
and do what you
Exercise
want,
judgment,
right?
yeah.
To exercise judgment, and they're saying let us control you in case of
No.
for security.
We're gonna make the best choice for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
Like, we know what's better for you.
That's exactly what they were saying. That's exactly, and they're using scare tactics on the idea that your child may get hit by a cop or hit by a car
It's so like dystopian, like future.
Take it to a few extra levels. If this is where we're at now,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like,
imagine in
take it to
10
a few
years.
levels.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't.
and
It's
that means like 18 months. Like, we're gonna be 18 months of the acceleration of technology.
yeah, I
you know?
mean,
Like I tried some low grade virtual reality shit at Dave and Buster's and was step back from that like I don't know if I want to see anymore. So I don't even want to see the good shit.
I'm in
you
the
know?
Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be drawn to that life because I could definitely see a life for people in our lifetimes who
Dude,
just
for
experience
sure,
it
for
through
sure.
like some kind of
Escape
avatar,
reality.
you know?
For sure.
well, it's that also with like what he said, where like creativity is lost, like what you said, like it's just auto-generated responses, stuff like that. Like
Right.
you don't have to respond in a car. Like everything is just automated. Your whole life is automated. That's fucking scary.
that's scary as shit. I know, and it's not. It's just the fact that it's like we're on the cusp. Like you can see, it's
Yeah,
not
no,
here
it's
now.
trending that
It's
way.
not here now, but give it 10 years and it
Yeah.
will be here.
And it's so
Yeah.
sad. Like free will is the like utmost importance.
Yeah.
Of like anything.
But how about this though? Like, do you think there's going to be a pushback to analog systems, like to detach from digital, like you're saying, like detoxing?
It'll just be an
Yeah.
opposite movement,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
reaction
yeah.
to it.
I think.
And guess
you'll have
who's
two
ahead of
different-
us
Yeah,
right
you
now?
will.
Guess who's ahead of us?
China?
No,
I don't know.
hipsters. What are hipsters doing? They're going vinyl.
So
they're buying clothes secondhand.
You took that in a totally different direction. I thought you were gonna go. You took that in a totally different direction.
Serious though?
I mean, I'm being
like they're trendsetters.
They're leading the cusp of decoupling from technology. They know
it's going to be a minority always, though. It's never. There's going to be like that.
You're not going to get Travis to go back to printing maps off of MapQuest. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Wow. So
I would just think about how mail. I mean, what do we have for our communication? We have text. We have email.
Yeah. DMs,
they used to have a horse delivering mail in the West
Right.
with the saddlebag.
The Pony Express.
Right.
Shout out to the Pony Express.
I mean, this like the era that we're growing up in is like one of the most pivotal eras. You know.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it will forever be one of the most pivotal eras because it is like tech, internet,
tech and politics,
which is like going to be the foundation of the next.
The Earth is trending.
Who knows how many years?
Let's bring it back though. See, with all this technology and all these like the plant that exploded in Houston, it was 100% controlled by computers. So how is that possible? That they don't have something like emergency shutoffs, like to say this tank is overheating. Let's cut it off. Like, shouldn't they have computer? I'm sure they do have. It's like, isn't it programmed? No. Like, how did that even happen? Yeah. With all this technology, that should not be a thing. Yeah. You know, like
true. I had this thought at work today. I've had like tech issues with our software. Right. And I'm like, this is a machine. Why does it mess up all the time? Like, isn't it programmed to just work like A to B to C?
There's bugs, and user error is got to be. There's always bugs, and there's user
But that
error.
like goes back to that though, like.
Yeah.
It is an automated machine.
Yeah, like, but how much does it cost to make something 100% foolproof?
Can you make something 100% foolproof?
Even if you could, it would be very, very, very expensive, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, you can program something to do A and B. Like, that's easy, right? So I guess the more complex.
Let's just start the plant example. How would, like, let's say we want to do plant, operations, but we want to make sure something like this never happens again.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that? How do you ensure that?
It's impossible.
Do you get rid of it? Do you
get rid of the whole industry?
It's just a necessary evil that we do all this refining. Yeah. Every once in a while, there's going to be...
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
When was the BP thing?
The BP thing, that was
like 2010 or 2011, right?
So no. Oh yeah, it was.
So we're basically as a society like, hey, this is gonna happen every 10 years,
right?
Like, a lot of fucking plants are gonna, like, animals are gonna die and shit. We're gonna breathe some fucking cancer,
right?
But that's just short term.
But we need to
The next question is, how much can the environment take? How much, if we have one every 10 years on different parts of the world, like that happened in Louisiana, this happens in Houston. Dude, how many can, before we fuck up all the air? Like, dude, I was in my office building. You can see it from the gallery area on the other side of town.
No, you know what I read?
It was just covering up the whole sky. Like, it was like blacking out the whole sky.
You know what I read? It reached Austin today.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How many miles is Austin? It's like 270 or something?
Yeah, it's like 200 something.
That's insane. Apparently reached like the outer limits of Austin today.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
I wonder, I went out running both days. I wonder, like, really, if you, like, seriously did go outside, like, would it physically be able to affect you?
Okay, so can we talk about this? So this is the press conference that I saw with the Harris County officials.
Yeah, right.
So there's like this reporter who's grilling them, and there's this like air like meter that they have on site in Deer Park somewhere, and the officials are basically like, like the readings are saying that like the air is good, like no one needs to worry. And the reporter's like, but we checked in, like he cuts away and like the actual meter has been like, there's like 10-hour gaps in the readings and stuff, and it's like very sporadic. So we asked them about that, and the official's just like, well, there is maintenance on it, so I mean it is down for maintenance sometimes. Like totally lost,
right?
And then he's like, well, do you guys have that data? Like, are you guys even analyzing it? And another lady like steps in and just like fumbles over her words, and it's like, it's breathable. Like, we have people analyzing it, and it like the whole thing is so shady.
Bullshit.
Like, I don't trust any of them.
No, absolutely not. Here's the thing: the person is probably an elected official.
Yeah,
what do you think they have a science background? Do you think they have? Well, can you even describe?
Well, no. Whoever's in charge of those air quality meters are like climate scientists or whatever, right?
Right.
But I guess like I don't know. Like,
were those guys the guys that were talking? I'd be like, no. Give me. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The lady that was talking is like some PR, some Harris Fairfax County official. Yeah. No. Give me the scientist that's back there. Yeah. Let him come out here and tell me. Because let's say 5 years or 2 years down the road, they say, oh no, if you were breathing that air, you actually probably got some illness. And then they're not gonna blame. Who are they gonna go after? They're gonna be like, oh, that person's not in power anymore. Or that the person was just like they're not gonna hold anyone responsible.
You probably just sue the county.
Yeah. Who do you hold? Yeah, and at that point, the company's probably bankrupt, and the county's going to be like already broke.
So what did they do to Flint about the water shit?
Yeah, exactly.
What happened to them?
And then
how do they punish them?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was reading something. Yeah, I was reading something recently. I think it was about like 4 months ago, and basically, I don't know the details specifically, but it was kind of the same toxic sludge pollution thing. And it goes into, and I think it goes into the Brio sites in Houston. It goes into all these toxic waste dumps where people got mad, people got outraged, and the company had a responsibility to respond and all these liabilities and all this kind of stuff like that. What happened? They sold the company to someone else.
So they didn't have to deal with it?
So they didn't have to get rid of all the liabilities.
Wow. Right.
And then the company that bought it is in dispute that they actually owned those liabilities because we weren't informed about the liabilities.
Oh, so they didn't sell it at a discount? Knowing?
Basically, yeah. So basically, they're passing it off now to who? The taxpayers.
Right.
Because someone has to pay for the kid that has 3 lungs or, the fish that has 3 eyes or whatever. And it's not going to be the companies that have the liabilities. I'll have to furnish the article for you, but it's really interesting that they know what they're doing as far as when this responsibility, this whoopsie ultimately falls on them. They're never really going to pay the full price of the whoopsie. Yeah. We're all going to pay the price.
Right.
So we can't, I'm glad that person was giving media scrutiny and saying, hey, what's going on? The air quality is not really good. But how much trust do we really have in as much pushback as we can from the media? Is there ever going to be a response?
That's
I want to bring it back to like Congress, right? And I can bring up a few topics Congress that still affects us now is, there's Congress is on TV. They put someone on the stand and they say, hey, you're doing something really, really bad, and we need to fix it. They did it with
Zuckerberg or whatever.
They did it with Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
They did it with Michael Cohen. Yeah. They did it with people playing baseball and doing steroids. And what happened?
So stupid. Why would Congress even
what's happened the whole time?
That was the dumbest thing of all time.
Yeah. It's just a big, the dog and pony show.
Yeah,
right?
Really.
It's like,
we're doing something about this.
We're really getting tough on you guys. And they're going on. I mean, what's with Facebook? I don't even know what's really happening.
There was nothing punishable. There's no laws in place to even govern that.
Yeah.
He was just like, hey, my bad. Like, we'll try to be better. It's like, okay, well,
and they did, and
we have to take your word for it.
And they did. I don't even think they asked him the right questions about privacy policy and user agreements and sharing and is this stuff being.
It was like older people that are just like trying to understand what a poke is.
Exactly.
Like that.
Dude, remember that video you sent me? It was like floating around on social media where they're like asking him like, what were the questions?
Now, if I send you an email on Facebook, if I go in and send it over to you, what happens then? It's like we're not talking the same.
Zuckerberg's like, what? It's like we work on ads. That's our business model.
Right.
If I see an ad,
I'm gonna have to pull up this article for you, but it's just so fucking scary. You have these huge toxic waste problems, and then ultimately these companies just get out of it, man. So I mean, it's a very pessimistic outlook, but maybe we need to look to like new solutions of like affecting change.
Well, BP, did they have to do anything? I mean,
I don't know about.
They paid settlements out.
Yeah, I'm sure they paid.
The company was like New Jersey. It was a river, and it was, I think they sold to YPF or something like that. It was very interesting. And there's one thing I don't know exactly what happened, but you guys know Bayer and Roundup.
Yeah.
So today there was a decision with Bayer and Roundup. Maybe look that up. But basically, they won the class action suit, saying that Bayer causes some form of illness or cancer.
It was cancer. It was Roundup. It was Roundup.
Roundup
too.
The weed killer.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few weeks ago, you have Johnson & Johnson, where their baby powder in some patients causes cancer as well. So, I think Johnson & Johnson lost the suit as well. So it's interesting to see how dangerous consumer products are, and then even more so chemical products.
Yeah. It says Monsanto liability trial up next.
Monsanto is literally the most evil company.
So what do they do? Why are they so evil?
They're the I think they do like high fructose corn syrup. They do like pesticides.
Okay.
Yeah, they. they manufacture like all those chemicals.
Yeah,
and stuff.
so that's my. I mean,
company.
Yeah, I think they're owned by they own Bayer or something like that. Monsanto now. They have some investment in the products.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Just like side note, those same products, like the EU has really stringent standards on
right. I know,
chemicals.
but we don't have them here.
The same products are different ingredient list over there. Like Roundup over there is non-toxic.
Right.
And like they choose to make it toxic here when they already have the formula.
I feel like U.S. is in the middle. So Europe is like only high-end products. The U.S. is in the middle, and then China, they don't give a fuck. They'll put whatever they can do, put it into to get a dollar out of it.
Yeah.
But two things. One is we need to find a way to hold people accountable. Like, bankers for throwing us into depression. People, CEOs that take advantage of consumers. I think that the problem is we just let rich guys get away, and we're not holding anyone responsible. So there's no reason for them to stop. Yeah. If I can do whatever I want and I'm not going to be punished for it, Congress people as well, and I'm not going to be punished for it, well then there's no motivation for me to change my behavior at all.
Yeah.
And until we start holding people accountable, nothing's going to change ever. And in fact, it's probably going to get worse.
So what do you guys think about holding who should we hold accountable in the college admission scandal? What do you think? Where does that?
That's what we were talking about. It's got to be. Me and Marcos.
We weren't informed on it though.
But me and Marcos were saying you got to hold the colleges accountable. I'm more mad at the colleges for taking briberies because they're the
it's more like the people that are employed at the colleges. It was on it was an independent person who decided
they circumvented it.
They could have hid it from the school, right? It seemed like
the schools were duped as well. They weren't at fault. I thought they were bribed. When
schools
we talked about
do their own
but
sketchy
schools do
shit
that.
for sure.
I think it's the same like when a rich family donates a gym and they get like their kid gets preferential treatment or a saved spot over some poor kid who, or even like some regular kid who is more deserving. Like that's fucked up too. Like just fucking make it merit based.
So you think the legacy issue is bigger than this kind of isolated one-off of this consultant trying to get it?
This just like shed a light on like what the wealthy do to stay on top.
Yeah, I think that's more of the issue is just you already got advantage in being in America and they will do it, being wealthy, and now you're going to use that advantage to even further your education of your offspring. To give them advantage,
and it's not even
in the next generation.
The education, like the value of an education to them, is so much less than the value of an education to like an underprivileged person.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just about the image, like, my daughter went to this school.
Yeah, like we went to Yale. My kids have to go to Yale.
Yeah, and they said in some of those cases, the kids probably didn't even know about it. Like their parents had hid the fact. Like the kids thought that they did that.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you heard about some of them? Some of them are actually kind of funny. Like some of them said they were on the rowing team and they've actually never rowed in their lives. That's kind of funny.
I heard about they did like Photoshop pictures and shit.
The only thing I wish they would have made them do like a rowing tournament and just like see them go.
Oh my God.
The problem.
Yeah. Hopefully that judge is like is part of your punishment.
Yeah. They like can't even put on the life vest. They're just like, what do I do right now?
That would be great.
But that was the scheme of that guy was he was coaching these kids to say that they're in a sport that they'll never participate, getting past the barrier of the admissions counselor, and then never enrolling in that sport. So they were just checking the box as far as, okay, this guy's an athlete, so we have this criteria for athletes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So lesser standards.
Exactly. So it's athletes. Like it's more so that this person was profiting off of this whole industry of letting kids go in the back door and side door of elite institutions. And like you say, it's not even the value of the education, it's being part of the club, the rich elite club. And we can't get in because you're not part of the club. And everything, the good jobs and the future is reserved for people in the rich and an elite club.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that club. That being said, I wish I would. I've seen the rich and elite club.
Oh, yeah,
would you take a bribe to get in?
Well, I was thinking
okay. I'll take
How bad do you want to get into that club?
Those people,
because of that cost.
I'll take it back. Those people do cool shit, but they are typically I found that rich people are more boring and like their personalities are usually more boring and less.
That's a generalization, don't you think?
That is a very big generalization for sure. For sure.
Like you're saying they're more likely to be told what to think, kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I've only been around a few rich people, so a few rich circumstances that I
don't think I've ever been around like a really like wealthy person. Like someone like over like $10 million.
Yeah, I've been around. Really? Yeah, for sure, around over 10 million.
Well, I guess I guess at your little conference.
Yeah.
So, what was it, trademark? What was it called?
Landmark.
Oh, Landmark. Yeah, your Landmark conference.
What's
the leader of that's probably fucking billionaire.
What's the new?
Why?
He's just scamming poor people.
Exactly.
It's cold that JP thought about Jordan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's right. I don't think there's no way rich people see that bullshit.
The people.
The people running it are probably rich. Yeah.
But I think there's a larger question I want to ask you is like. America, like the promise of opportunity, the land of opportunity. If you work hard, you can be rich, you can do whatever you want. Do you feel like sometimes in some cases people kind of look the other way if you're getting rich, if it's a little bit quasi-legal, if it's a little bit unethical?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Most people are willing to look the other way. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think there's like that American spirit, like, okay, he did whatever it took to get there, you know?
Right.
And like we all kind of would too.
So do you think like the American code is kind of, it's in the code of America that's like, yeah, I mean.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Maybe. I mean, or is it like.
For sure, that is the culture, for sure, right?
Yeah.
I think people like kind of respect it if a guy's an asshole, right?
But how do you change that?
Yeah, like the Wolf of Wall Street. Exactly.
Like, that was cool. Like, I thought that guy was
in reality, that guy was the asshole.
Yeah, he was. He
ruined people's lives. He cheated on his wife. He ruined people's lives.
Selling junk to grandmas that don't know what's
exactly.
Like ripping them off and stuff.
And we when you watch that movie, you're like, you're like, that guy's a badass. I want to be like him.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's so weird. I think a lot of, not all, but enough wealth in America is generated on, illegal activity or stuff that's not ethical. And we celebrate the people that are rich, that are famous, that get this wealth, but we also we're so right to, or we jump at the opportunity to take someone down when everyone jumps on them at the same time. Say, this is so wrong. They're scamming people. They're bribing people. But we're willing to look the other way through most of the ascent of their wealth.
Yeah. But where's the line between ethical and legal? Like.
Because
like these guys that go down like Robert Kraft and this prostitution thing. If prostitution was legal, would we be looking at that differently?
I don't look down on the Robert Kraft thing. I mean, I look down on human trafficking, of course, but the laws around getting
if she wants to
massage,
if she wants to give a hand job for money, that's her right.
It's the same way I feel about drugs. I mean, if you're gonna make them illegal, somebody's gonna see that market and they're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be regulated and be safe than have just some dude off the street do it.
Selling you God knows what.
Right. So I don't know.
But is it changing the law, or is it changing the attitude of people? Like
or one comes before the other.
That's I think the ethical thing comes before the law. It's like, it's not illegal what I'm doing right now, but it's not right. But who's going to stop me, right? So you do it, right? So
You
know what I think is going to be interesting in the next few years too is that people in power. It's like it started with the Acosta lady. The younger generation, like there's older people in the government, right, as it is now. But starting to come in this next 10 years are going to be people that grew up with the internet are now going to be congressmen. People that have always had their cell phones in their hands. Yeah, like AOC, that know what Twitter is. They're the ones that are going to be stepping into power, and they're going to be more, have more information than ever before, the generation before. So it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do, because I feel like it's going to be a new era, like the internet era is going to now be running stuff. And with all these, in the next 10 years. Because I feel like they're getting in that age, because the internet really started taking off in the 90s. So, what is that? And, the 19, it's been like 30 years, right? So, people that were born in the 90s are now going to be 30 years old. Yeah. And they've always had the internet in their hands. So, it's going to be, interesting to see what this new generation... if it alters the behavior in the direction that the U.S. is going.
I think it could, in a sense that, social media is, very quick to vilify someone when they fuck up.
Right.
So, the cost of fucking up is so much more public now.
Right.
And, you will get crucified on Twitter and Instagram and shit.
So,
I even think
reputation
that's
means
wrong,
more,
right? I mean,
public shaming,
it's
overreaching.
Public shaming has its worth, and if someone does something wrong, people getting hey, that's wrong. But when you just when people just fucking vilify, or just attack people for no reason, or take it overboard and shit, or the millennial fake outrage where anything is fucking oh, you offended me,
right,
and, everything gets public shamed. If someone fucking farts or something, it's like the worst thing ever. You know, like something like so nonsensical like that is.
I like that. That's your go-to. Yeah,
but you know, like
I know. Yeah, of course, we know what you're saying.
Like the fucking libtards. Or whatever. The snowflake libtards.
Is that offensive? Is that offensive?
No, I mean, I consider myself.
I don't know all the new.
I consider myself liberal, and I think libtards pretty funny.
So, like, this is a thought I just had on like a big picture scale. Do you think people becoming just more online and seeing their identity as more of like an online presence over time will make people see common ground, or more likely to see people see less value in like another person's life and more likely to say nuke like another country or some shit like that, because they see them as more life is more like a game almost, like you see this person as their
no, I think the latter for sure. I don't know if y'all agree, but like the anonymity of like internet,
like it's easier to just see something,
dude. Like when people like fight on the internet and stuff or social media, like you wouldn't say that to someone to their face.
Well, you know? That's the thing. I think it's the same thing with scamming. It's way easy. Okay, it's way easier to scan a grandma on the internet than it is going to be to scam a 13-year-old. Why? Because a 13-year-old knows what the internet is, and it can. They're wise to what a scam looks like, right? Because they know it's been around them for so long. It's the same thing, isn't it?
But he's saying like, will it take like the humanity out of like
society?
Like,
I think
they're just an avatar. They're not a human.
I think the older people are the ones that are arguing with each other more than the younger generation. I would think, right?
I personally think that like anonymity has value in a sense, and I think that some people abuse the value of anonymity and be just very rude and very cruel to people.
You wouldn't be like that to someone face to face.
But I think that a part of that is sometimes it's too much, but a part of that is really therapeutic. That people can be something that they're not. It's not right. But just having the access to anonymity,
but it puts you like in such a bad state of mind.
No,
like,
of course.
Like, in the early stages of the internet, like if I ever like hopped on a comment section, like, oh, that was fucked up, like it would like put me like in a lower vibration in a way, like, you know what I mean saying?
No, absolutely. I don't think it's a right thing, but I think people still should have the right to be anonymous, but also the right to use it in a way that's not, malicious or is not abusive. Right now we're in the stages where people use it for both. I mean, they use it for bad reasons and for good reasons.
Whenever I see like people getting arguments on the internet, I don't get it. I'm just like, you guys are fucking. I got other things to do than argue with someone I don't know
but you read it.
about. I don't. I mean, I really I can honestly knock on wood. I swear to God, I've never got in an argument on the internet about anything, period. I do read what people say, like just I've read people going back and forth like, oh no, you don't have all the facts. It's like,
you've never gotten in a
I swear, hand on the Bible
section,
hand on the Bible, hand on the Bible,
dude,
pure hand on the Bible. I've never gotten an argument with anyone.
Do you see value of why people would do that, or it's just such a foreign concept to you?
To me, it's like I don't like arguing with people like in real life, much less with some random stranger. If I have an argument with someone in real life, I better have a fucking really care about this, really care about my opinion. Otherwise, I'm just gonna let you think what you want to think, and I'm gonna go think the way I want to think, and we'll agree to disagree.
Well, that's a rational way.
The only reason I'm really gonna have an argument with you is if I passionately think you're wrong and I care enough to give my energy to get my point across to you.
But that's what people are doing, and that's what you're seeing.
But why would you care? Okay, but why
was more of an ego thing?
I know, but I'm not advocating for it. I mean, it's useless. But I'm saying
exactly. It's you just said it. It's useless.
It's useless. But if you see the value of why you would argue in some situations, that's why some people argue, and they don't see.
With a stranger, though, with a stranger, I don't care. With a stranger, I don't care what any stranger thinks. As long as it doesn't affect me.
I think they think that they could sway their mind and change something
by calling someone a jackass.
Well, no, like if you see someone hopping on like Trump's an idiot, and then like a Trump supporter's like, no, like fuck you, like he's really like a god. They just think they can change their view, and it's never gonna. Like they're not ever gonna.
I don't even think they're trying to.
See, that's a perfect.
So? I think they're just trying to win the argument.
Make the other person look stupid.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah, maybe.
But even if anyone did,
but why argue with anyone then? I mean.
I don't see.
We all should disagree, right?
I mean, the only reason to argue, I think, again, the only reason to argue is if you are passionate enough to make your point across, you know.
But you could argue with someone and be wrong, and then you started the argument and you realize that you were wrong and you learned something. Yeah. Isn't that valuable?
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I do that
I think
that's not really an argument, right? That's just talking.
No, it is an argument. Absolutely. Like, you presented a supposition or an idea that you thought was correct when it's actually not, and you're learning and taking away from the exchange more than what you had before.
Let's practice this. What do we all have opinions about that we disagree? No, I'm kidding.
I guess there's just a difference in if there's healthy ones and there's you know, like, what are we doing here? We're just fucking.
And I think you're talking a lot about like people insulting each other. I think that there's no real place for, hey, you fucking libtard, or hey, you trumpeteer. What do they call them? You trumpet, you trombone.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like the main argument point that everyone has, it's like arguing so much it's getting boring. Like, it's just like overdone. I'm tired of arguing. Can we everyone just shut the fuck up and live your life?
Yeah, I did it a couple times, like in the infancy of Facebook. Like,
yeah, it's like, can we just are you not I'm just bored. Like,
this is so stupid.
Yeah, this is boring and
never
stupid.
Doing this again.
Well, what's the new, I feel like we've talked a lot about that. What's the new Billion show on Showtime? What is that?
Yeah, so it's a Billion show where it's basically, I've been watching it for a few seasons, kind of off and on, but it's, you got Chuck Rhodes, he's the district attorney for the Southern District of New York, and you have the guy that is a huge hedge fund guy, and they're kind of at odds with each other. Basically, this guy's capitalist, wants to earn a lot of money. Go ahead. Yeah.
This is gonna maybe be a stupid question. Is a hedge fund what's the difference between a hedge fund and a mutual fund? A mutual fund is where you just get a bunch of people to invest and you pick the stocks and it's mutual, right? You get people to invest in your mutual fund, right?
Yeah. So
what's the difference between that and a hedge fund?
Yeah. So basically, with the mutual fund is you're choosing a portfolio of assets and you're offering these to a bunch of people. Right. It's regulated, whereas hedge funds are not regulated, and you choose a lot of different strategies.
Oh, that's
shorts. Well, that's one of the differences.
Oh, okay.
You can. It's only for really accredited investors or people that are sophisticated and understand the risk of investing with a hedge fund, and they can really choose whatever strategy they like to make a profit for their investors that are in those funds, in the hedge funds.
Is it like the difference, like a minimum? Like, because it sounds like hedge funds are more risky, so I would imagine you'd have to invest more to be able to get into it.
Yeah, the short answer is like accredited investors for hedge funds, you have to have a certain net worth.
Right. Okay.
Mutual funds, more or less, you don't really necessarily have to, but the more money you have, the more break points, which are like discounts you get for investing in the mutual funds and stuff like that.
I see.
So like, think of any strategy under the sun that this person wanted to employ with a hedge fund, they can do it. Mutual funds is like, this is our portfolio. It's we're doing just high yield bonds, we're doing emerging markets, or we're doing a balance fund or whatever. It has a portfolio, and then they kind of disclose of all that kind of stuff. Very, I'm going to say safe necessarily, but you can
transparent.
Yeah, more or less. And then hedge funds could do anything from like just shorting currency to like doing a bunch of different strategies, whatever you can name of,
So this show is about hedge funds.
It's a playoff kind of hedge funds and their inherent greed and wanting to make money for their investors and doing everything they can, and then the Southern District, the district attorney, trying to prosecute them and try to make them follow the law, but at the same time, they're both kind of flipping sides at both points.
It's basically like two adversaries, right?
Yeah.
The billionaire and then the lawyer for the DA, DA or whatever.
Yeah.
But in real life, the billionaire pays off the lawyer and they go their separate ways.
Yes. I mean, so that's the thing, is that this district attorney, he has all the power to prosecute or to not prosecute people.
Right.
And he has all these connections because his father came from wealth. So his father expects him to do certain favors for people that are in high places and all these kind of things. So he's conflicted, and also, don't prosecute this person because I know him, or prosecute this person because he's my friend's enemy, stuff like that. So it's kind of flipping it's on its head. It's like the person that's supposed to be just and who's supposed to be doing the right thing, sometimes not always doing that.
Yeah, I watched season 1. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually.
Y'all want to hear? Oh, sorry.
No,
go
well,
ahead.
he just reminds me of Mark Cuban. For some reason.
Oh, yeah.
Like the way he looks. But
it's the guy from Homeland, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love me some Mark Cuban. Good guy. I like him.
Good owner.
Yeah,
for sure.
You want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
About this? This is a true story that, no, I don't know if this is, I take it back. This is a story of, I heard some other person tell a story, but the person I heard from was firsthand. So it was like a friend of a friend telling me what happened. So this guy, rich guy, hires a high-end escort for the night. They go out to dinner. They at dinner at this fancy restaurant. She gets a little drunk, might have had a little party favors in the bathroom. The girl goes out to the people that take your car, the valet. It says, "Hey, I want to get the keys to my car," which is a new Maserati that the date was inside. She gets in the car, takes off driving. The guy comes out, doesn't know what happened to the escort. Comes out 20 minutes later. Hey, asks the valet for his keys. Valet goes, "What are you talking about? Your girl got your car earlier." Oh shit. It's time to call the cops. Someone just stole my car. The funny thing is, the girl comes back down the same street that they were just at the restaurant at, and drives by in the guy's Maserati. So he's like, "What the fuck?" So he calls the cops. He's like, "Hey, this girl, this escort, this lady is driving his car." The cops come. They obviously get her because they know exactly where she just passed. Cops pull over. The guys take the lady to jail. She starts screaming about she knows she has friends. They can't take her to jail. The cops take her to jail, impound the car, whatever. Next day, guy is at work, gets a call from a district attorney in Houston. Turns out that this escort was also an escort for this district attorney in Houston, and it's like the assistant of the district attorney. And the district attorney says, "Look, this escort's threatening to tell all this stuff she's got on this guy. So the district attorney said, if you're willing to drop the charges, if you ever need it, he's giving you his number. If you ever need a favor, you ever get in trouble, give this guy a call. He'll gonna get you out." And the guy is like, "Well, let me think about it." He's like, the assistant's like, "Trust me, you don't want to think about it. Everybody needs a friend in high places every now and then." So the guy goes, "All right," drops the charges, gets his car back. Nothing happened.
See, being rich and wealthy.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly, right?
It sounds pretty good, right?
Exactly,
get
right?
that club now and take that.
Yeah. So I was like, dude, I'll take a get out of jail free card for sure. I'll take that.
That's too bad. One said, more money, more problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that sort of stuff does happen these days all the time, I'm sure, you know?
Oh, for sure.
I don't know.
Damn, so he's got to use that get out of jail free card,
yeah,
right?
I know. I was
should have had OnStar.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah, what would you...
yeah, I'm gonna call it. Yeah, shut it down.
Save your latitude.
See how we do it? We bring it back around.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good show.
That's good whiskey.
How about they check that out? Yeah, that is good whiskey.
Yeah. What's it called?
How'd you find this?
What, the show?
Yeah, no, this.
The Kurayoshi.
I went to the store and I was like, dude, I want to try some Japanese whiskey. And he said, this is the one to go with. And I said, okay, sir, let's go.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
New sponsor, the Kurayoshi.
No. No free ads.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit of March Madness since it came up. I don't know shit about basketball, but I think I might fill out a bracket just because I heard.
Much about it.
Are you guys doing office pools?
Dude,
Texas
Tech.
I'm doing office pools.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tech and U of H representing Texas.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
A&M
right.
too. Oh, shit. That's right. That's right.
Wait, did UT get in?
Nah.
No.
Nah.
Damn.
They missed the bus.
What a year.
UT, has there been a school that has fallen off harder than fucking UT?
Great city, great school.
Yeah.
Like the athletic
Yeah,
program.
they were involved in that college admission scandal too, though, right?
Oh, were they?
Yeah, it was like their tennis coach or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I know the...
The tennis.
Yeah, because I remember in all the stories on like CNN and stuff, they always showed the clock tower.
Oh, yeah.
They were showing all the school campuses, like Yale, whatever.
Yeah.
And I always saw UT's clock tower or whatever. It's
There you
called.
go.
If you have to cheat to get into UT, I mean, I can understand cheating to get into Harvard or or like an Ivy League school. You're cheating to get into fucking
UT's
UT.
legit. It's not, not everyone just walks in, you know?
Oh, do y'all want to get a little serious again?
Yeah.
I was having this discussion with
Let's get
Springer
serious.
today.
Yeah, serious.
He sent me this article about like New York public schools and how like basically you apply to like there are certain select public schools that everyone applies to. So there's like 900 spots per year for freshmen. And like
In a public school?
yeah, they're like select like elite public schools that you can like take a standardized test for and get into.
How's that even possible? I thought public schools were for everyone.
Well, no, not
Okay.
this one.
Okay.
It's like you test into it and it's like
Yeah, they have a lot of different stuff in New York, like charters and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, they even have that in Houston on some level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, like this year, out of 900 students, only 7 were black. So like the mayor was kind of pointing to it being like further signs that like the
Yeah.
system is broken.
Yeah.
And so they want to like get rid of the standardized tests and just do like top 10% from all the high schools could get like automatic acceptance into it.
Texas method.
But then like all the Asian Americans got pissed off because 70% of the new kids are Asian Americans.
Oh man.
So we were just kind of like discussing like affirmative action, and I'm like, I don't know, like I kind of wish it was merit based, and like you didn't even like on the application you didn't put any race or ethnicity. But then you're kind of ignoring like this.
Then you're getting nothing but Asian kids.
Yeah, like the systematic disadvantages though.
Yeah,
that they're
that's
like, you know,
but he
like,
said take away the 90% that didn't achieve
But
it
no,
based
broader.
on merit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but no, yeah, like in a broader sense, like affirmative action, just in general.
No,
for
everyone
universities.
has to be based on merit. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm saying I can see arguments for both sides.
Yeah.
Because like
Joe, for
minorities
sure,
have had
arguments.
systemic oppression where it's like if you don't do affirmative action, you're ignoring that. You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like they don't have the
It's the
same
solution.
opportunities.
You think it's just
but it should be merit based. Like if you're thinking about it, like the best students, the most talented should get the spots.
I agree, but you gotta include. There's so many different factors. You gotta include home life. You know, people
Yeah.
that are working 12 hours,
Yeah, I know.
8 hours a day to help pay the rent for their parents.
they can't pay for
You
tests,
can't
too.
expect them to study as much as someone that doesn't have to do that. You know, so it's like,
So you're saying it's okay to reserve spots?
I mean,
for those kids,
it's such a complicated issue.
I know,
don't
like, there's
even
no right an-
know-
I can
there's
see
no,
arguments
there's
for
no,
both
there's
sides.
no
Like IQ
right
test?
answer. There's no right answer.
I don't know. That could be controversial
That-
too.
there's no-
Because IQ is
too.
a lot about knowledge and like
Yeah.
a kid who's like traveled with his parents and stuff, or there's like another kid who just like you know
Yeah, I'm just saying,
So
it's like
you just test a kid when they're like,
yeah.
this is one of those arguments where
know.
everybody's gonna have their opinion, but
There's no right or
there's
wrong
no right
answer.
or wrong answer, and it's a mix. Like,
What if you started the education like from ground zero and we're deficient, we're behind countries? What kind of education system would you build? Like, how would it work? Would it,
well, I would, yeah, for sure, the education
I don't know.
system.
well, you would have. It all starts from geographically people being segregated.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's where it
Yeah,
shifts
yeah.
from. So
For
you
sure.
have to hope that you integrate fully.
Okay, so what
It's the only way to make it.
Yeah,
But can you? How you
So
gonna? Okay,
random-
how are you gonna
like, yeah,
integrate?
how do you transport the kids?
Do you know
like,
how many
logistically?
schools are in the U.S.?
I don't know.
How are you gonna? How
we
many?
have the internet. That's really
No, like
helpful,
within
right?
New York City, like you're saying, instead of going where like your neighborhood is, you just like randomly get a sign, and it's just
Yeah,
randomized.
somehow you have to get the teachers,
Just in the
Randomized
teachers.
too.
or like I don't know, and make
yeah.
it.
Everything randomized.
Yeah.
So it's like a
There's
Make
like
everybody fall under the same umbrella, though.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
another controversial thing.
But what if people are stupid? Do they deserve a good education? No, I mean that's
Yes.
that's a stupid question to say.
even
That
more
like,
so, even more so, right?
do we give them more resources or less resources than the people that are gifted or the people that show more aptitude?
we give them. We
but
give
how
them.
do you judge
It's
that?
not a
and at
serious
what
question.
point? How do you judge that, and at what point do you judge
No,
that?
no, right,
yeah,
right,
it's
right,
so subjective.
And
But the great thing about America is like when we do see talent, we clear a path for them to go.
Well,
Like, they can go to the NBA. They can be fucking in the Houston Symphony when
Okay.
they're 13. Like when there's a child prodigy, we clear the path for them more than any other country.
But that's not. You also can say we do the same thing for hot chicks, and that has nothing to do with education.
Yeah,
That's
but I'm saying
capitalism of people trying
Yeah.
to exploit.
But no, it's good though. Like if you have a talented kid in fucking Kazakhstan, like no one's ever gonna like get behind him and be like, hey, like you need to.
But even Houston, Texas, if there's someone that has a lot of potential and it's not exposed to anything, and they could be the next
Yeah.
Mozart.
There's always that.
How could we?
Yeah, but at least like when it is identified, at least we do a good job of being like, hey, like you can be in the symphony at 12. You know, like you're gifted.
I mean, I think in some cases, but I think
That's
very
like the
poor
okay,
schools,
okay.
like
Those are the people you know. Think of
I
the
don't
ones.
even know. Once in a generation
Yeah.
type, like whatever.
But I'm saying at least like give us credit.
Well,
Like
those are the people you know that are famous, though. How many people fall
Yeah,
through
we're
the
talking-
fall
like,
through
I
the
feel
cracks
like-
that you
no,
never
I
hear
feel like
of?
they're discovered and then like.
But there are a ton of people out there that not that they could have been prodigies, but they could have been doctors. They could have
Yeah,
been lawyers
okay,
that
yeah,
are now
yeah.
just working,
Yeah,
whatever
so they're less
hourly
accepted
bagging
wages.
groceries or something.
Yeah.
But they have.
Those are the people that I think like
Where the concern
you're not
is.
giving them the same opportunities. But
Yeah.
how do you identify those people? And
Yeah.
how do you?
But there is like
There's a mix. Okay, I've got mixed feelings about myself. I got two stories I want to share. One is about myself. I barely graduated high school. I'm being serious. I graduated with a 2.1 GPA, but I graduated college with honors at a 3.5. And I would say the only difference was my ability to learn how to study and the time I dedicated doing it.
Yeah, like
he learned how to read after he graduated high school.
He's not joking about
still
that.
Can't
he's
write.
almost
still can't write. He's still working on that.
Yeah, so like it's like how do you keep a kid? Yeah, it's a person's responsibility as well. But if I was on the cusp of let's say if I made one decision, instead of trying to go to college, I just went down the drug path, which easily could have happened.
Yeah.
Where would I be today? And how do we discern between the two who gets what?
Yeah, you can alter someone's trajectory
For sure, by just giving them a chance,
or like just keeping them interested.
But,
like that's probably why you didn't care as much in high school. A lot of other factors maybe, but just the curriculum, what you're being taught, just didn't really interest you. And maybe in college you had some more interest, so you took on your own volition to say, hey, I want to study this stuff. It's the same thing with most kids. Like, if they don't see a point to the education or the curriculum, I think dude, the education's a lot of checking boxes and busy work, man. Like, who likes to do that?
Yeah.
I think it's more just about as you feel as an adult, you just want to be another person in the system. You want to feel like someone cares about you and wants to see you successful. I think that's part of it too.
Are you saying you want to sit, like, you just want to make good grades, or
I think part of it was I think part of it afterwards was like I just didn't want to be a loser.
Just new environment.
I just knew that. Knew that. I think a big part of it, honestly, was I saw a bunch of my friends from Clear Lake going to college, and I was like worried that I wouldn't, I didn't want to be the one guy just stuck in Clear Lake living, because I just saw people around me doing that, and I just didn't want to do that,
Yeah. Can I do a thought experiment real quick?
What's up?
So I don't know if this happened or not, but let's say like you got in through affirmative action or something and you reserved a spot.
Right.
What if there was a really deserving kid who didn't get that spot and then he fucking nosedived into like doing drugs and now his life is ruined?
I mean, I think it's like
it's possible. That's definitely
possible. There's two sides of the coin.
It's like the same thing
you
with
denied someone that spot.
I understand.
It saved your life, maybe, but it maybe ruined his life.
It's possible.
What do you think about the phenomenon that, like, if it's not really close to you, if it doesn't really affect you really close, that it doesn't really bother you at all? Like, even if it's a bad outcome, like, what about like bombing kids in Syria? But like.
That's true.
We have such a cognitive dissonance, or like we can disconnect those things, so we like don't care.
Yeah,
because I probably would like I can say right now I would care, but like I would just go about my life because like it doesn't really affect me.
I absolutely care.
It sounds terrible, but it's just like
I absolutely care. For people that say there's a dissonance, I say you haven't traveled enough. You don't, because if you travel.
Oh yeah. No. I mean, I say I care, but I mean, I like.
I got what you're
stop
saying.
Going to work.
I got what you're saying.
I think though, like for us, it's kind of different though, because if you have to separate it, because it's not like we are to blame. Like it's not like we have much influence into ultimately what we're gonna do. It's not like they're saying, hey, we're sending out a poll, we're gonna have to kill 20,000 Syrian civilians, but we can potentially stop this, civil war.
Yeah. No, that's what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, otherwise, we're all walking around like, God damn, we're not even.
You didn't make the decision.
We're not proud to be American, like that kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do have a voice. You can. Well, I guess. But
it's just like
your voice is.
Your voice is not going to stop any bombs dropping right now.
Yeah, it's just like because then what do you really want to become like, because you could become totally passionate about like anti, and you could go stand on the bridge on 59 and do that, but what's that going to do,
or even take Marcus's case, like what are you going to do? Say, you know what, I didn't really deserve to be here, I'm going to drop out and this kid should take my place?
You
going to do that?
I don't know, but I mean,
why not?
I think that's an excuse to not do anything, though, right? Is that not an excuse to not do it? I mean,
I think it's.
I would be more likely to do that coming from the advantage position. Like if I got in based on like legacy or something, and because of that, some kid from an underprivileged school, didn't get in, I would be more likely to do that because I would have like a safety net, and like you gotta put it through that lens. But if you're saying that you get in because of affirmative action, I think it's a lot easier for that kid to rationalize allowing himself to stay.
All I say is if you find yourself knowing that drones, it does bother me. If you say hear about drone attacks and say it doesn't bother you, I would highly recommend.
Hear about what?
Like if you hear about drone attacks and bombings and like I said the other day. Okay, a perfect example. Like I said when we were watching that basketball game and they kept having commercials for the Marines and the Army.
Yeah.
Like every
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, and they kept having
let's talk about that.
That was the thing. They kept on having commercials for people. People were hopping out of helicopters, raiding a village, and I was like, yeah, they're showing people jumping out of airplanes and it looks cool, but they're not showing the innocent people that are dying. They're not showing the drone strikes that are killing innocent kids and on weddings. So I really have a problem with them showing. It just made it really. That was another commercial. It just threw me off. Like, you're showing the best and you're making it look entertaining when the war is not a joke. And people, if anything, it makes you feel more drawn back and like you're not a part of it, because to you it's just a game. It's just something on TV. When you don't realize that there's people over there and you're actually ruining lives, you're ruining family. And if you actually took the time to to meet these people, you would see that they're just like you, and you wouldn't like that happening to you. And I don't things like that do bother me.
Wondering, like, I was like, they made this look like Call of Duty. Like,
exactly. Like, this is not a
make Call of Duty come to life.
Right. This is not. This is not a video game. The people are actually dying.
I remember the simulations they brought to our high school were like video games.
They did. They had
like, they brought in a little booth with like a tent, and you go inside there, and you would like fucking do some kind of simulation type thing.
They would put you at war, like a flight
simulator. I did like a flight simulator type thing.
I don't think people like.
This is a taste of war. Get in there.
I don't think people think that they could die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You in?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like, nah, man, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's go back to your thought about like, I don't like that feeling about knowing about drone strikes. I think it's true. I mean, and you go back to what's the biggest advertiser of the Marines and the Navy and everything on TV?
I have no idea.
What is it? Probably
the biggest advertiser?
NFL?
Yeah, NFL. Like you go at NFL, go right to a commercial. I mean, what's the first ad?
I guess so.
Yeah,
because that's their demographic. It's just men,
rednecks.
I mean, but that's not by accident. No. But it's not just demographics. It's just that it's just such a coincidence that they folded in, the war to,
Well, and the NFL likes that too. Like, they're very stand for the flag, obviously.
Yeah, that's.
But it's no coincidence, right?
Yeah.
We're
traditional values. Like,
and
actually,
what kind of people go to war?
You think the whole anthem thing was about sponsors?
Not race. Let's talk about more class. What kind of
poor people?
Poor people, right?
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on the military, because I think the military is really fucked up too. I mean, I think
most of us could see it as a way out. Probably,
right? I know, but that's not the way. That's not the way it should be. That's not the way. Voluntary. Yeah, but if you're poor and they give you and you have no other way out, is it really voluntary? If you're like, this is my only option to not be poor anymore, is that really a voluntary thing?
I feel like you can make a good life out of it though, if you don't die.
Oh yeah, exactly. But if you don't die,
yeah. I'm not cut out for it. Like, I'm too much of a pussy. I will run the other way. I'd be like, fuck this. I'm not sacrificing my life.
I understand.
Yeah. But we shouldn't force kids because they don't have a lot of opportunities to choose to go to war and kill themselves and other people, right?
Yeah, okay.
And then actively target them with media.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what we do now.
Yeah.
So it's like, you guys have a choice, but you better choose this one. You guys like football.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is voluntary, but like you said, it's kind of it's like predatory tactics to enlist these people that
it's like that fucking landmark shit. Like, they're fucking predators on the weak and the helpless.
I know you guys probably don't want to talk about war the whole time, but I saw this article where it was talking about there's kids that are signing up. There's like Camp Pendleton or whatever the training bases are that were born after September 11th, still fighting the same war.
Really?
In Afghanistan, and some people had to explain to them about September 11th because they weren't impressionable enough, or I don't know if they're born after or they're like 3 or 2 or something.
Yeah,
think about that for a second.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We're still fighting the same war, and we're making people go to war that weren't even there.
That's the thing.
Yeah. For what?
We used to fight for freedom against evil, but now I feel like we're fighting for money and oil.
I don't know what we're fighting for.
Exactly. Does anyone know what we're fighting for?
There's a lot of evil over there, but I think we just gotta leave. Because we're never gonna outlast people in their own home country.
It's true.
Like, it's their land.
Yeah.
Like, what's our goal?
I don't know.
It's just a matter. Every time we leave, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah,
before.
Unless you're friends.
Yeah, we can only exert influence for so long.
Yeah, it's like having fucking holding a kid by his hand. Like, eventually, he's got to cross the street by himself and learn to look.
So at the end of the day, it is about the resources.
Yeah.
For now.
I don't know. War is sad, depressing topic. Let's talk about. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just like the school. We've talked about another depressing process. I don't know what the answer is, but
are you guys ready for baseball season?
Oh, what do you think?
Yeah. I was going to talk about. You guys hear about that?
Yeah,
who?
Dude.
Oh,
430 M's.
We've got it. We're already at now.
Mike Trout.
We're already at
12-year 430.
You see a new Astros contract too
with
LA Angels.
LA,
was he with them already?
He re-upped with them, yeah. Him and Otani are the future of LA.
Dude, that's
so
for the next 13 years.
12 years,
12 or 13, yeah.
Dude,
and he's like 25. How old is he right now?
26. Trout or
26,
I think. Trout?
Yeah, he's around there. I don't know exactly.
How much money are they making?
That was he gets to stay in LA. He got $500,000 and now he's just set.
That's insane.
Yeah. What does that come out to per year?
35
like that.
Yeah.
You know who also got re-signed just like right before I stepped in here? I have to look up the contract. I don't know exactly. Alex Bregman got a new contract, $100 million.
Wait, I thought he was signed for a while.
He just got signed, yeah.
Wait, look at
how many years?
An extension?
I think it's a 3-year deal.
I thought his deal didn't come up for like a couple years.
Telling you right now, he just got re-signed.
Was he a free agent though, or did we extend him?
I think they're offering a new contract. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Look it up. I just saw like a headline.
Yeah.
Dude, he's
$100 million, 5-year, $100 million extension.
What? Oh, extension.
That's insane.
Because I feel like he's way more talented than Machado.
Yeah, so it goes into what would have been his 2 free agent seasons.
They're a lot cheaper too, right? A lot cheaper.
Yeah, for 20. He's here if he keeps progressing.
Yeah.
I mean, he was already like, what position does he play?
Third base. They play the same
he was like
position.
top 5 third baseman, right?
Yeah, Machado's third base too, so that's a good comparison.
I don't even know what this
that's
means.
That's
it says, what does this mean?
Right?
I don't follow baseball close enough to understand this, but it says that contract covers the current season, 3 arbitration years, and what would have been the first 2 free agent seasons for Bregman.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure about contract language, but I think arbitration means you can go back and forth and kind of renegotiate, right?
Yeah, but I think it means like the existing contract goes up until arbitration, then the extension is those 3 and 2.
Well, so when's the next time he could?
I think he's. I don't know exactly because I can't read it. But I think he's getting paid whatever he's getting paid now until the end of the year, and then he's getting that $100 million. Yeah. So how you read it? Or
yeah, so we can't keep the big 4, right? So we basically made a decision. We're keeping Bregman. We have to keep Correa. I mean, he's like a 22-year-old stud.
Yeah, look at the. I don't know.
And we already paid Altuve, right?
Yeah.
So Springer's gone.
Keuchel's probably gone too.
Because I don't think they're gonna have a fucking Yankees budget.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah. So I think Keuchel's gonna be.
Dude,
I don't know because
Springer,
Keuchel he's kind of on the fence right now. They don't know if they're gonna.
I thought Keuchel was gone. I heard.
Well, he's still Astros as of now, but.
All right, guys. Well, we're at an hour and the camera's about to die, so we're gonna have to cut this off right now. But thanks for coming in. I think it was a good podcast. We talked about all the good subjects, right?
Very philosophical.
All right.